you have tuned into the first ever Sanj Talks podcast. And today I've got a very good friend with me, a wonderful chap, amazing musician, probably one of the most forward-thinking, coolest guys I know. I'd love to introduce Nathan Flutebox Lee.
Wow, I thought you were introducing Elon Musk.
How you doing, brother?
How you doing, man? You all right?
I'm all good, man. I'm all good. So look, right, this is the thing. This is the first time I've done this as a kind of like Sanj Surati kind of thing. You know me, I know you. What I want to do is basically, I just want to talk about you because you're one of the coolest people that I know. You're a really forward-thinking, really exciting musician. I think before we kind of focus on specific things, I'd love it if you just kind of go into like what you're about, where you've come from, talk to us about the art form of flute boxing. Just kind of, if I was nobody and I didn't know anything about you, what you would say to me about what you do, just for the audience.
Okay. Well, my name's Nathan Flutebox Lee, or Nathan Francis Lee. And I guess I play the flute, but what I do is I play the flute percussively because I guess I always wanted to play the drums, and I've always loved percussion and that kind of thing. I've always loved beats. So when I got given a flute later in life when I was about 20, and I just wanted to. It just seemed like the natural way to play it was to play it in a percussive way, and to play it in a way that was it just seemed like the right way to do it. I think what was good with me was I didn't have any preconceived way of playing the flute because no one taught. I taught myself, so I just did what felt good to me, and that was just kind of making it percussive.
And just to give a bit of background with regards to like the whole percussive flute style that you have, because there's a couple of people who'll be listening to this who don't know anything about you, but you basically play the flute while beatboxing at the same time, right?
Yeah, that's it. It's a beat. You could call it beatboxing, or just abbreviating the bars with beats, using your mouth to make. So it's what it is it's new repertoire for the instrument. It's a new way. Anyone can do it now. Now it's been added to the repertoire for the flute. Anyone can pick the flute up, and you don't have to just do your solo. You can drop into that. You can do that as part of your solo. You can make it more percussive. There's it's just another level of aggressiveness that you can go into, or kind of percussiveness, whatever you want to call it. But now the repertoire's there.
Amazing. How long have you been doing that professionally?
Professionally, well, I started playing at 20, and then I got my first sort of big job, I'd say, with Prodigy when I was like maybe 26, 27.
Wow.
So, wow, you look really beautiful, man. Lighting's really good.
Those of you that listen to this,
you don't look beautiful in person, man, but you look great there, man.
You look great too.
Right? I saw that exercise, yeah. Wicked. Yeah. Nice.
You touched base on working with the Prodigy. So was that the first time you worked with a kind of high-profile musician or group of musicians?
Let me think. I'd done a few things with a friend of yours, actually, and I think we're all being in the same scene, and I guess, being where we're from and all the rest of it, not touching on it too much, but the kind of the whole, the Asian underground, stuff like that. I did some stuff in that scene, but no, that was the first. Prodigy was the first big. I think it was the first notable group I was with. Yeah.
Wow. And how did that feel? Like you being in your sort of late 20s, am I right? Like how did that feel for you as a musician?
Yeah, mid to late 20s. Yeah, it just felt amazing. And because I grew up listening to them, and when I was younger, it was like when it was not Firestarter, but Outer Space and Horns of Jericho, and that whole album, that was just, it was incredible for me, man. And they couldn't have been nicer. They couldn't have been nicer blokes. They couldn't have been more. I think something I've always found is when you're with people who really know what they're doing and really sort of don't have anything to prove, they've just done it and they're smashing it. they're very easy to work with. It always seems to be that way. And people who are kind of still on the up or have done something and not everyone knows about it, it kind of is, it's not the same. But when you're with people who've really done loads of stuff, they're very easy to work with. And they just try to sort of ingratiate me to this world, which I wasn't used to, and try and make me not intimidated and at ease. And, you know, Keith and Liam and Maxim couldn't be nicer. And also,
Wow.
I mean, it was my friend, actually, Tony Phillips, Amin Phillips, who introduced me to them. Because he always says to me, you leave my name out of it whenever you say it. You don't say how it happened. And I said, so it's true. I need to name check him, man, because he was like, look, you need to come. These are my pals. And he was their friend, and he said, look, come and show them what you do. And I went and showed them what I did, and they said, yeah, come and do stuff with the band. I wasn't expecting it. I was like,
Wow.
blew me away, man.
Cool. And I mean, you touched on someone that I've met before. You know, Keith from Prodigy, who I met him actually backstage at a Deftones concert. Him and Gary Newman, and we had a few drinks, and he was he was one of the most generous, exciting energies I've ever met in my life. And I mean, I've always been a big Prodigy fan. What was it like for you to meet Keith, and what was he like? I'm sure there's people listening who want to know. He was
just an amazing character, just in terms of being probably one of the most amazing frontmen of all time. Him and, you know, maybe HR from Bad Brains. I think he's up there with HR from Bad Brains.
Wow.
And also, but because he was just very humble and very just. He said to me, you've got to try the couscous covered chicken. It's amazing. They just had this massive rider, and it was just amazing. All this fruit and all the rest of it, you know. I didn't champagne a lot, and I was like, wow, I was intimidated. And he was like, come in, man, you'll love the chicken. And the chicken was great. Yeah, he was, great guy.
God bless him.
God bless him. Rest in peace, man.
So talk about some of the other artists that you've worked with over the years. I know we're kind of jumping here, but I mean, you've worked with some of probably the most important current era pop musicians and hip hop musicians ever. Talk about some of the ones you've worked with and who you really took a lot from.
Well, for me, I was always, when I was younger, I used to listen to Gang Starr, which was DJ Premier and Guru, and man, it was just I got a call, and it was basically, look, would you come? Guru says come and jam with him in his hotel room. So I was like, yeah, I'd love to. And we went to his hotel room and we jammed, and it was amazing. It was amazing to jam with someone that I'd always admired. I'd always admired Premier, the way he used jazz in hip hop, and the way that Guru, the tone of his voice was just amazing. The tone of Guru's voice was amazing, and I was a big fan. So doing that was amazing. Also working, I was asked, there was the Meltdown at the RFH, and the Roots were playing. You know, the Roots with Questlove and Black Thought, and they said, why don't you come on in the middle of our show and do a solo? And I said, yeah, I'd love to. And I just a band that I just love. And then for them to ask me to like what I do and then ask me to come and do stuff, I was blown away. Who else? So many. I mean, to be honest, nearly everyone I've worked with, I've enjoyed it, and all in different ways, but just for who they are. Even the people, to be honest, the people that aren't names, that people don't know about, that are my friends, that make music, that play, the violin, or play whoever I'm playing with, whoever would play the flute or rap or whatever. All of them. Yourself, I've enjoyed the process, and I've enjoyed it all. I've enjoyed it.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think what I've found is and I think you'd find the same thing, because you've been around a while now as well. And I think what it is, when you kind of look back on it and you think this is the journey, and you actually think, well, I've enjoyed everything. I've enjoyed all the people that people know about, but I've enjoyed all my friends and the whole community of musicians, everyone. I don't differentiate between a person who's famous and a person who's not. It's either good music or it's bad music.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just with regards, I mean, you touched on some of the artists that you've worked with that some people may not know. Like, feel free to talk about them now. Like, is there some people that you're working with at the moment that are inspiring you, that are really kind of making you enjoy the experience that that you want to talk about?
Actually, there's something, and I'm not plugging it. It's just because you've asked, but there's Manassa versus Praise, or Manassa meets Praise. It's going to come out soon, and it's this producer who's a reggae producer, Manassa, and with a friend of mine who's really, he taught me so much, and he's a viola player called Mike Pagalatos. He's also one of London's amazing graffiti writers with VFL. Used to write with VFL, and Mean, who's VFL. He's also SBS and PFB. So yeah, those guys, there's, I mean, so many, because it also, the lines are blurred, aren't they? There's kind of the lines between, because it's all, I think now we're on lockdown, I think people are going to realise that how important it is, how important art is, and that, people who think that artists are useless, well, try staying at home on lockdown with no books, no TV, no music. That's and I'm sort of coming off subject here, but just it's also the graffiti writers, everyone who's kind of, am I mumbling here? But
no, man. No, I mean, it's actually on my list of questions, actually, is to talk about the current coronavirus situation at the moment, specifically you being an artist. So yeah, just let it flow. This is really important. I mean, this is why we're doing these talks, is to kind of engage with people during this tough time.
Well, I just find I just think that a lot of people are losing their loved ones, and it's just hurting. And my sister, Hannah, is currently working in a hospital. She's a nurse, and so she's being very brave, and she's going in, and she's dealing with people that have coronavirus right now, and she's got 3 kids, and so I think the whole family are being very brave, and they're going in, and my sister, I've always respected my sister, and this has just made me respect her even more. She's not some musician chief like me,
With regards to the current lockdown, the coronavirus lockdown, the COVID-19 sanctions that we're kind of going through, you as an artist, are you struggling with regards to keeping your sanity? I know that's quite a direct question.
No. I mean, to be honest, I've always struggled with keeping my sanity. This is just a new thing. This is, to be honest, in a way, I'm trying to take the good things out of it. I'm exercising a lot, and I'm spending a lot of time with my family, my wife, and my baby, and so that's been really nice, because usually I'm on tour. And I'm just working all the time, so I don't get enough time with my family. So it's nice to be at home, just cooking up rice and chana and dal and chicken curry and and just and exercising a lot and trying to get through this.
Amazing. Talk to us about the exercising that you're doing at the moment.
Yeah, well, I was boxing up at the at Epsom and Ewell, ABC, and they taught me a few things there, and then I've just been carrying them on in the house. And also I'm doing five sets of 50 press ups, and then I'm doing 1 set of 100 press ups. So I'm doing 350 press ups a day, 5 rounds of shadow, and trying to just remember what I got taught when I was up at Epsom and Ewell and boxing. And
amazing. And just with regards to boxing, have you been following boxing over the last sort of 12 months with regards to the heavyweight division and how it started to become explosive again and exciting again?
Crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was very interesting. I thought it was very telling of kind of how people are, the kind of Ruiz Joshua fight, because I thought that was interesting because everyone thought Ruiz, oh, he's going to walk over him and all the rest of it. And it was so funny hearing how everyone had opinions, even people who didn't really know about boxing. And anyone that knew about Andy Ruiz knew that he was actually, he had a beard. He was quite tasty. And, he'd fought good people and that he had a good record. He was a good amateur. I wasn't as surprised as everyone else when he got the win. It was a surprise because Joshua is good, but I didn't think that because he's not aesthetically an underwear model that would have any bearing on it.
My favourite boxers are the ones that surprise you. Prime example, Mike Tyson. When he was in his prime, just watching him, just chop someone up was an exciting thing. Not to say that Ruiz and Tyson are the same type of boxer. They're not. They're completely different, which makes it even more exciting. But
you're not expecting Tyson to chop them up, because I kind of felt like they were being invited to the chopping board when they went in the ring with him.
I think it was quite clear as his prominence as an athlete and a boxer was taken over. Was becoming a cultural phenomenon that he was just unstoppable. But I think that that there are some people that got in the ring with him who didn't know what to expect, and you could see it in their eyes. And then within a few rounds, they were like, "What the hell am I doing?" I've finished, and this was around February time. I finished reading Tyson Fury's book before his rematch with Deontay Wilder, and he talks about how when he felt Deontay's fists hit his, he could tell that there was a punch there that he had to be very careful of, which is really interesting. When a boxer who, any athlete, when they're running the 100 meters or when they're getting in a ring to fight someone or whatever, your mindset has to be completely driven so that you have to think that you're not going to lose for you to kind of be the best, and even Tyson, who has this fantastic mindset that showed everyone that he's obviously the best heavyweight in the world. Even him in his book, in writing, he's saying, actually, this guy's fists feel like atomic bombs. Do you know what I mean? Like,
really?
That's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about Tyson Fury?
I never liked him, but he's obviously a great boxer. I mean, I go back to Tyson, though. I think what's nice is that I think that it all comes out in the wash, and people always thought, oh, Tyson, a brawler, a maniac, a barbarian. What's actually coming out in the wash is, if you look at it now, he's actually become a very well-adjusted, very sweet older man. He's also was a great student of boxing and very technical. His technique was amazing.
Yeah.
And I think people, they sort of say, oh, this animal, this, that, and the other, which, of course, he had the aggression and stuff like that, but he was a very good pugilist. Knew his craft, studied his craft. And I think and that's all coming out in the wash. With Tyson Fury, I didn't really check for him. I mean, my favourite boxer of all time is Prince Naseem Hamed, hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down. Prince Naseem Hamed, and I don't think he gets the credit that he's due, because the things he did in the ring, I've never seen other boxers do what he's done in the ring. Who's done in the ring the kind of knockouts and the way he did it that Naseem did it?
Yeah, and Naseem was, he was incredible. He was basically the 90s answer to Muhammad Ali, I thought, because he was a show person. He was, he was frenetic. He was exciting. He had energy. He had emotion. It would make you smile as well, to watch him. He's brilliant.
Yeah, no, I love Prince Naseem Hamed, and I think the angles he knocked people out, the power he generated. I mean, what I'd love is, God, if he was still sort of, at fighting age now and in shape, I'd love to see him versus someone like Lomachenko or Triple G. That would be incredible. Triple G's I know Nassim went up a few weights, but I don't know if he would have been big enough to fight Triple G. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I'd love to have seen him fight someone like Lomachenko.
So we're talking about these sports stars who are very scientific with regards to the methodology of their art form. Talk to me about the science of flute boxing from your perspective.
Well, I think with it, I think a lot of music, just full stop, is, you know, you can be a virtuoso, but there's a lot of it which is also intention, attitude. And I think if you've got attitude and you've got intention and you know what you want to do, when you play it, you know how you want to sound, and you're comfortable with your sound, and you play it your way. I think that's important. Because I was listening to Gang Starr, and I was listening to a lot of even the classical I listened to, the sort of Shostakovich small group work, the Stravinsky, there wasn't a lot of flute in the classical I was listening to. The flute that I listened to also wasn't the percussive kind. It was more like I was listening to Hariprasad Chaurasia and a lot of classical Indian flautists, and I was listening to Bismillah Khan and people like that. So I didn't. With the flute, for me, I didn't have anyone I was trying to be on the flute, apart from maybe Roland Kirk. And I also loved the way it was put in the in Gil Scott Heron's music. So those were things that influenced me. But generally, I just came to it, and I suppose the science of it was I wasn't trying to. I had no preconceived ideas. I just wanted to make it make a beat.
Wow. And
I get it and show you what I mean.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do this.
So just really simply, you can pick it up, and just a very simple, just a simple beat. So you can just, you know. You know, or so you've got more attack. It's just more attack. It's the way you want to play it. If you want to play it and you want to play it, you know. But I wanted to play it with more attack. And that's it in a nutshell, really. So when I got it, I didn't want to. I don't know. I wanted to express myself, and that's the way it came out.
Wow,
maybe
that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. And then just from your point of view, when did you find that balance where you felt comfortable playing the flute with that type of attacking style with the beat?
Straight away. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Because I didn't know how to play it, so it was just easy to. It was just easy to do. It was easy to do it. I mean, I didn't have the chops, but I would just mess around doing that. I could do that before I could really play it properly. I could beatbox for it before I could play the thing properly. And then I spent trying to learn. I mean, I'm playing a bit of Bach now, and I love playing Bach and a bit of Vivaldi and stuff like that.
With regards to Bach, so as you know, I do a lot of work with the Royal Academy of Music. One of the artists I work with is a guy called Xiaotian Shi, an amazing musician and composer. And he knows that I love rock music, and we started talking about Bach and how Bach was super influential to bands like Metallica, Megadeth. And it's funny because I never really truly appreciated Bach until about 10 years ago, and I started listening to him, and I was like, holy shit, this is like incredible, like super atmospheric, lots of build-ups, very at times very aggressive, but but it's that kind of rock and also hip hop dynamic where you're down here and then boom, you're up here, and it's like how you get from down there to up there is
that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's it in a nutshell. His musical devices, and it all makes perfect sense. It's very, very clever, and very. It just feels so natural to play. Once you sort of get it and you get it under your fingers, it's very natural.
Awesome. So tell us about other things that you're working on, because you're a philanthropist. You know, you perform. You're doing you're training. I used to do a lot of martial arts when I was younger, and never really saw the value in boxing, to be honest, until I got into my 20s. And when I said I didn't see the value in it, I just didn't really respect the art form. Like I was just a young gun. But then as I started to read about boxers and learn about boxing as a sport, I just couldn't believe just how pure the art form is, and the rules and everything behind it, and the stories behind it as well. You know, how it's kind of parts of it are kind of affiliated with like gangster culture, and there's a lot of like stuff that happens behind closed doors that you don't hear about. And now I'm just absolutely fascinated by it. And, you know, we touched on Tyson Fury. You know, he's kind of reinvigorated my love for boxing, because I was like you, I was a big Nazim fan. Also growing up, I loved Mike Tyson. I still feel he, in my eyes, is still the greatest boxer of all time.
Like Amir Khan.
Yeah, Amir Khan's amazing. Like, still is. I mean, I don't know. For me, he didn't have the magic that Nazim had. Like, I feel like a lot of people kind of put them on the same stage, but I just felt
they're not the same, are they? They're not the same. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, for me,
Canelo, and then got knocked out. I don't know if you saw the Canelo Alvarez Khan fight, but Khan was boxing out of his skin and doing really well, and then he got iced, man, by Canelo.
Right.
Yeah, iced him.
That's the kind of beauty of boxing, how it can just switch and it's just another person's victory, you know, from going from somewhere.
Yeah, it's true. Very true. And it's also, I think the thing that people don't get is it is a violent sport. But I think what they don't see is the kind of honor and the kind of the people that do it can't do enough for you. I think you meet the nicest people in the sport as well. There is, you know, aggressive side and the gangster side and all that stuff. But the bit that I know about is the kind of the sportsmanship, you know, the people try and help each other. And, you know, someone that might punch you in the face in the ring will also ask you if you want to lift home.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of it. I think that's the beauty of it.
Absolutely. So let's kind of sidestep a little bit. You mentioned that you cook curry at home. Talk to me about like your ethnicity and how you're proud of that, and how that's kind of part of your identity, and how that kind of transcribes into some of the things that you do.
Well, I guess mum's side is Sri Lankan and also Kerala mix, and my grandmother, I think, was from Sri Lanka, and then also family from Kerala. So sort of Tamil, really, Southern Indian. And then my father, Scottish American.
Wow.
Yeah. And but I've always loved curry. I've always loved curry of all sorts as well. You know, not just you know, you name it. I love curry mutton, curry chicken, curry fingers. You know, curry for breakfast.
So, and you cook at home?
Oh yeah, I mean, I like to cook. I mean, curry's like a holy grail. Just when you think you're decent at curry, you'll always find someone that's that makes better curry than you. You know, there's always a curry that will capture your attention. But yeah, I like to curry. I like currying chicken. I like making dal. I like currying. There's a kind of I like currying fish. Yeah, I like to make curry.
Talk to us about the process of you making curry. The reason why I asked, so I'm I do a lot of cooking at home, and when it comes to curry, for me it's again an art form. You have to kind of make when it comes to making the sauce, particularly, you have to start on the spices. You have to kind of pan fry a few things. You've got to roast a few things. You've got to crush a few things. You've got to kind of put them together. Then what I do is I put in some onions into a big pan, and let them kind of fry. First, let them sweat in their own liquids, and then let them fry in their own liquids for a bit.
Tell me about it. Let me know. Oh man!
And then you throw in the spices, and then you just let that do its thing.
What are you throwing in there?
Sorry?
What spices are you throwing in?
Ooh, so I use quite a few. So couple of lots of pepper, lots of cumin, lots of coriander, lots of salt. And when I say salt, like proper salt, not that refined crap that people use, just like
real salt.
like Himalayan pink salt. Make sure it's crushed up. Some garlic, some chili. And then you start to mess around with a few other things, like a little bit of coriander powder, maybe a swig of garam masala, like just depending on how I'm feeling. And then just as that starts to heat up a bit, then you start throwing in your vegetables, whether it's little cubes of potato, and then as that sorry.
Are you vegetarian, Sanj? You're not, are you?
No. I do eat a lot of meat. I actually like meat. But I am very conscious about how much meat we eat in the house.
I've been seeing your stuff. I've been seeing the food that you've been putting up, and I have to say some of it looks really nice, man.
Thanks, man. If anytime you come over,
where's my dinner invite, baby?
Well, we'll do that once we get through this Corona thing. But just for me, like learning how to cook is such an important aspect of human behavior, because just from being in this scenario, this coronavirus scenario. Because I know how to cook, I know I can feed my family. You know what I mean?
So true. And it's funny with this Corona thing, right? How people's survival compasses aren't quite like sort of set properly. Like I saw this woman in the shop, God bless her, right? But she had something like 200 pepperonis, right? And 50 cans of Coke. And I felt like going, but I didn't say anything. I thought, man, what are you going to do with that, man? Clean your car engine with that Coke, and what are you going to do with those pepperonis? I mean, God, you might survive Corona, but I don't know. Your bowels might not be too good after that, man.
Exactly. And it's just, I think anyone, once you know how to cook, you can make simple dishes very quickly that just taste amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't need Coca-Cola, you don't need anything prepackaged. You know what I mean? You can make just with 5 ingredients, you can make something that will just make your mouth salivate thinking about it after you've eaten it.
So true. My wife, she's from Kilburn, but her parents are Moroccan, from Marrakesh, and she makes couscous with 7 vegetables, and it is off the chain. And it's such a simple dish, doesn't have many ingredients, but if you do it right, if you steam the couscous right, if you do it the right way and you take the time, just amazing, man. You're eating just couscous and carrots and potatoes and cabbage, and it's just unreal.
So we've spoken about loads of things, particularly about music, boxing. We touched on your and where you're from, where your family from. Talk to me about being a father. You just recently become a father in the last few years.
It's the best thing I've ever done, man. And it's one of those things I didn't realize how good it was. And I'm just going to come out with a load of cliches, but they're cliches because they're true. You don't realize how nice it is until it happens. And also, it's just the love you feel. The love I feel for my son and the love that you get back is just incredible. But it also is one of those things where I think I'm just talking from personal from a personal point of view, it's one of those ones where you do think, well, right, I've got to keep making some dough here. You know, I've got a family, so it does make you feel like that too, or it makes me feel like that. But the pros outweigh the cons massively. It's the best thing I've ever done.
Wow. Yeah. And how old is your son?
He's 2.
Wow.
2 and a bit. And his name is Zakaria John Samuel Abdel Salam Lee.
Wow. Are you going to teach him how to play the flute?
Well, if he comes in and says, Dad, I want to play free jazz, I'm going to say, listen, son, I'm going to say, why don't you become an engineer, or a doctor or a mechanic, or get a job where, normal people inhabit it and they give you normal paychecks on time and stuff like that. No, I'm joking. I'm being flippant, but yeah, I'd love him to play an instrument and stuff like that. Yeah, I'd love him to play. I think it's there's with the Suzuki method. I think you get children into instruments not because it's a thing they would do for a profession, but because it's a thing that enhances their humanity, a thing that, another way of communicating, a thing that gives them more brain development, and that's why you do it. You don't. If you're doing it for some sort of end game, whoever you are, you've got the wrong idea.
That's amazing. And then just from your perspective as a musician, it sounds like there must have been some really challenging times for you.
I never wanted to. All I wanted to do when I started flute was to get good at the flute, to play classical music. And I was on a building site, and I just wanted to. I left school at 15, and I just wanted to prove to myself that I could do something, well. And I found the flute by accident, and I wanted to play it well. That was literally it. I never wanted to particularly even show people. I just the sort of joy that I got from playing it, and the calmness I felt. And we talked earlier about sanity. To be honest, some of the times when I feel the most sane is when I'm playing Bach, or when I'm playing trying to play Rag or something like that. It's always helped me, and it's always been a comfort for me. And I think a lot of people kind of miss that, and with the industry and all the rest of it, there's kind of a lot of people kind of gloss over and kind of miss out the important bit, which is it's a meditation. It's something personal. It's something that that's the thing, really. The worst thing that can happen to you is to become a professional musician in some ways, because it's a personal thing. It's like having sex for money, which I haven't done. Yeah. But you having sex, making music are things that are personal, and that aren't things that you should do for money. But it just so happens that that's things that you people that you get paid. I never thought that. I think getting paid to make music is a very strange thing, and it's the worst thing that can happen to a musician sometimes.
No, I totally feel you. I mean, just from my experience being a singer in a band, it's a very similar thing. I mean, when I was younger, Aphids, yeah. I mean, all the bands I was into, but obviously we were in that similar era, sort of early noughties, late 90s.
Yeah.
For me with Aphids, initially it was all about, just getting high and, being this star. But once all of that disappeared, I just really started to hone in on being a musician, and how just being on stage, no matter how many people there, was just a therapeutic thing. It was very spiritual, very exciting, very beautiful. I could just let everything go. And now being a stand-up comic,
I think you've got so much guts doing that, man. Honest doing that, man.
Well, it's I think for me, because I've come into, I didn't start doing stand-up to my late 30s. I think going in then, after I'd been through so much in the music space, prepared me from a gutsy point of view. It meant that I could go in and not be afraid, just to be completely fearless. and I still feel great. I mean, I did
You've always been good like that, though.
Yeah,
you've been good like that.
Yeah, I mean, I did some shows recently using Zoom, like online, and even those shows, one of the gigs, there was about like 50 people there who tuned in to watch this digital show. After the gig, I mean, I only did a 10-minute set, but afterwards, I had that rush that you get where the adrenaline's pumping, and like there's these pores in the back of my neck that open up, and I can feel that sort of cold breeze going into those pores, and it's a euphoric feeling. that feeling, it's incredible. It's incredible, and that to me is more important than the fame, than the money, than the starhood, or any of that, and it shows. Yeah. Awesome. All right, so 2 more points before we finish off.
Oh, mate, I've got all the time you need, mate.
Well, the first thing I wanted to ask about, so what's going on at the moment? What are you working on creatively that you can talk about and that you want to kind of focus on for a bit?
Well, I've got a few projects. One project is I'm in a band called Asian Dub Foundation. We've just released an album.
Yeah.
And then I'm also working with a guy called Prime Cuts from the Scratch Perverts. And we're doing some stuff which is really cool, man. And I'm also working with my friend Ronell, who's in a band called Rudimental.
Yeah.
And we have a jazz band with a guy called Kaz Rodriguez on the drums, and Michael Antonio on the guitar, and Ronell on the bass, and that's heavy. That's heavy as well. And just got a few projects, and then I'm doing this thing with Manassa and Praise, where that's coming out soon, and I'll ping it over to you, Sanj, man.
But please do. I'd love to hear some. Yeah,
that's coming out soon, man, and that's really good. That's fire. And so I've got a few projects, and then always just trying to make what I do on the flute, the percussive thing, and just be a better flute player, really. And
amazing.
That's it.
Awesome. And then just quickly, actually, before we close, it'd be good if we could just touch on it, ADF, for a bit. How long have you been working with Asian Dub Foundation for?
A long time now. A long time. I'm not sure.
About 10 years, right? Or just over 10 years?
Just under. But yeah, coming up, it's got to be coming up for 10 years, I think. But I think it's under 10 years. I'm not sure. I was on a few albums, and also I was collaborating them before when we did projects together, and I featured on tracks before I was actually in the band. I was sort of featuring on stuff. And I tell you what, those guys, Dr. Das and Chandra Sonic, they just improved my reading list and gave me books to read. And I'm an avid reader, but they gave me a lot of books to read. Steve was the one that pointed me in the direction of Schopenhauer, Karl Marx, Banukin, Kropotkin, Black People of the British Empire, stuff like that.
Awesome.
Musion, yeah. I remember you were working for Musion. I thought that was brilliant, man.
Yeah, it was good times. Good times.
I mean, that was crazy, right? Because you were doing holograms.
Yeah.
That's nuts, man. It was
we did a hologram of you, dude.
That was like being on Star Trek or something, man.
Yeah. Well, we did you launched. Remember, we worked together on that record. We launched that record at Musion.
Yeah. We had an. Do you remember the sound system we brought in for that?
Yeah, it was great.
That was insane. Yeah, good times, man.
Good times. So, brother, before we sign off, just a quick one. If anyone wants to get in contact with you, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Don't get in contact with me. I don't want to be contacted.
Okay, but you're not on any social media or anything like that?
I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram. Yeah.
What's your Instagram?
Nathan Flutebox Lee.
All right, guys.
Flutebox Lee. Yeah. My middle name.
Awesome. All right. Well, Nate, it's been
nice, man.
It's been an absolute pleasure, brother. I love you a lot. I'm so glad we finally got to do this. It's been a long time coming.
Button. We can talk some shit after this, yeah?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But just for the people listening, I just want to say it's been awesome. This is the first ever Sanj Surati Talks podcast. It's an honor to have you on it. And I'm just thinking after this one, I'm going to try and do like another one where there's like 3 of us, and I'd love to get you on that as well.
I'm still looking for my dinner invite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe do like Sanj Talks dinner.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.